Earlier today, cyber attackers gained access to a nearby hydroelectric power dam. The hackers gained remote access to the floodgates of the dam and are threatening to open them unless ransom is paid. The deadline is fast approaching, so local officials are urging neighboring communities. This is just a glimpse of what could happen if a dam near you experiences a cyber attack. In 2013, Iranian hackers gained control of the floodgates of the Bowman Avenue Dam in New York State. Fortunately, the gates were down for routine maintenance at the time, so no one was harmed, but this has national indications for critical infrastructure, including larger dams, like the Hoover Dam, which supplies power to about 1.3 million people and water to over 16 million. There are about 92,000 water dams in the United States, and about 2,300 of them produce power for surrounding areas. Dams are particularly vulnerable to attacks because, due to their size and scale, the infrastructure can be decades old and lacking proper security measures. Only about 81% of high-hazard potential dams have an emergency action plan for when something goes wrong. Many dams are also remotely operated, which saves companies money by not requiring on-site operators, but increases the risk of cyber attacks. While cybersecurity can defend plants from outside attackers, its ability to mitigate harm once hackers get in or ensure inside attackers from striking is limiting. This is where cyber-informed engineering, or CIE, comes into play. CIE is a method of cybersecurity in which security measures play a vital role in the engineering process, including design, manufacturing, and practice. The method can be laid out in 12 steps: consequence-focused design, engineered controls, secure information architecture, design simplification, layered defenses, active defenses, interdependency evaluation, digital asset awareness, cybersecure supply chain controls, planned resilience, engineering information control, and organizational culture. Take, for example, a scenario in which an attacker gained remote access to a dam control room via a remote control center through an old internet browser. Once the hackers had access to controls for the floodgates, there were no limits or need for confirmation of their commands. The hacker gains access to the dam's floodgate controls and successfully drains a tenth of the dam's reservoir, sending a city nearby 2 feet underwater. In this scenario, which one of the following potential vulnerabilities in the dam security system most contributed to this attack's success? A. Too many people had keycard access to the dam controls. B. Lack of digital command and confirmation through secondary controllers. C. The dam was built too close to residential neighborhoods. Or D. No authentication of devices physically plugged into the control system. How could you use CIE principle number 5, layered defenses, to best defend from this attack? A. Require a physical key and keycard to access the controls. B. Require on-site confirmation of extreme remote commands. C. Build another dam to protect nearby neighborhoods. Or D. Implement a port block to confirm the safety of plugged-in devices. Which organizational entity is primarily responsible for the failure to prevent this outsider attack? A. Governmental agencies that issue non-binding cybersecurity guidance for the dam sector. B. The manufacturing company that produced the concrete used in the dam's construction. C. The information technology department that designed and implemented the facility's authorization and authentication procedures. Or D. the maintenance personnel who clean and repair the dam's physical components. In a different scenario, a process engineer at the same dam has been experiencing personal difficulties at home. She is one of 3 engineers on duty during the night shift and possesses emergency access to the generator controls. After a particularly difficult night, she accidentally shuts all of the dam's generator intake valves, crashing the local electrical grid. The engineer testified that her error was induced by the proximity between the controls for the pump generators between the dam's reservoirs and the controls for the dam's generators. In this scenario, what was one vulnerability in the dam system that led to the outage? A. Lack of an air gap allowed access to the controls via internet. B. The employee should be able to leave her personal troubles at the door. C. The generator automatically turns on whenever it receives the command. D. The controls, one with major consequences and one used daily, exist on the same panel. How could you use CIE Principle Number 2, Engineered Controls, to defend the dam from this attack? A. Create a single access point for communication via internet. B. Mandate therapy to teach compartmentalization. C. Require multiple people to perform the same action for it to go through. Or D. Require a lock and key for controls that are not used daily. Which organizational entity is primarily responsible for the failure to prevent this attack? A. The recruiter who hired a careless employee. B. The manufacturer that created the plastics used in the panel's buttons. C. The individuals causing the hardships in the employee's professional life. D. The procurement department that allowed the purchase of a poorly designed control panel. Cybersecurity becomes increasingly crucial in critical infrastructure to protect our resources and communities. It can become a matter of life or death. Cyber-informed engineering ensures the safety of these resources through involving every person involved in the design, creation, and use of relevant machinery and equipment to keep us all safe.